look at this. We found some fresh chives in the supermarket, and come in a little pot, you see? Isn't that cute? And we'll chop these up and make a lovely garnish for cream of brie. What a wonderful soup. There. Oh. Lord, that's rich. Are you ready? It's just beautiful. I'm going to put it over on this side, I think, because I need some room for the next item. If I can get into the... there we are. If I can get into the souffle now, I think you'll be surprised, because I have a beauty for you. A Swiss cheese souffle that is just colossal. I'm going to show you the finished product first, because mine is just now done, and I don't want it to fall. When the bell goes off in your oven and your souffle is ready, you yell like mad and tell everyone in the house that it come right that minute, because the souffle is done, and don't let them stand there and sip on their sherry and keep talking. You just say, get out here right now, right now, right now. No fooling around. Because, oh, almost lost it there. Because the souffle, isn't this wild? Easy to do. Oh, that's gorgeous. Now that's going to fall a bit as it cools, you see. By this time, you want everyone, boy, I'm impressed. Isn't that a beauty? Notice I didn't put any wax paper on the outside. Don't do that with a souffle. That's for a gelatin-type souffle. You don't want to do that with this one. Show you how it's done. Nothing but eggs and cheese. We want to melt some butter. We're making the souffle now. Is this awful? I'm going reverse on you. We want to melt about 3½ tablespoons of butter for our Swiss cheese souffle. So we'll get that in a pan and on its way. And then we will prepare a roux. Let's see, I need a couple chives in the milk here. That's not good. I need a couple cups of hot milk. There we go. Remember, a roux is simply butter and flour mixed together so that you can use it as a thickening agent. It's spelled R-O-U-X. It is absolutely important to your kitchen, because most of us spend a lot of time shaking up water with flour, and we come up with paste. And that's why it gets lumpy. Of course it's going to get lumpy. It's lumpy to start with. The flour congeals to its neighbor, each little grain, you see. But if you butter them, then they'll not stick together, and you'll have a nice rich filling for your roux. I'm going to put in about 4 tablespoons of flour now into the butter, and it's just beginning to melt here. And you don't want to make this raw. You want to cook it a bit so that it gets rid of the raw flour flavor. That's important. While the milk is heating, I'll talk with you some more about the principle of the souffle. One, I think you should have your eggs at room temperature. And we're going to separate 8 eggs, but we're not going to use all of the yolks. We're just going to use 6 of the yolks. And that will blend into our cheese and bechamel. So while the flour is melting and cooking with the butter, let's whip the egg whites. And I want 8 egg whites. Got that? 8 egg whites into a bowl. Let's see, where are we going? Here we go. Into a whipper here. And I want to put in just a bit of cream of tartar, half a teaspoon. And that will keep the egg up, the whites up, keeps them good and firm. And 8 egg whites. Now you're going to wonder about me, because later on I'm going to put in only 6 egg yolks, but that's all right. Let me go back to my roux here. There we are. It's doing nicely. I think I have too much flour in there. If that happens to you, just add a little more oil. Don't worry about it. A little olive oil would be just fine. That's what I'm going to do. There we are. Any kind of oil. If you don't want to increase the cholesterol level so much, well, just add a little olive oil. You could make a roux with just olive oil and flour if you like. Okay, we'll let that toast for just a bit now. I don't want to toast it. You can make a dark roux if you like. In New Orleans, you know, they toast this roux until it's just black or very, very dark brown, and then they say, that's just right. We'll just let this cook for a minute while we whip our 8 egg yolks with a bit of cream and tartar. Okay. I hope you have a good mixer at home. This one's a blessing to me. I just love it. Away we go. Now I have a cup of Swiss cheese ready to go, and I've grated it. Coarse grater, you see? Watching everything all at once. What's next? All right, the milk is ready for the roux. We're going to make a bechamel sauce now by simply stirring the roux right into the milk. It's best to do this off the burner. I'm going to move it now. Best to do this off the burner so that it won't lump up on you. There we are. All right, once you stir it in, back on the burner it goes. We'll let that cook for just a minute. And now we'll check our whites. They're still fine. So let's season the roux with a bit of cayenne pepper. Just a smidgen. You know, you just need a couple of pinches. And a bit of nutmeg. This is a fresh nutmeg grater. You've seen this, I'm sure. I just love it. And a pinch of salt. There we are. Okay, off the heat it goes. We're ready. The whites are done. No. A couple more minutes. A couple more seconds. Now I have 6 egg whites around here, egg yolks around here somewhere. Here we are. Now we're gonna blend the bechamel, seasoned bechamel, into the eggs. And please notice that I'm pouring some of the bechamel into the eggs first. Don't do the reverse. Excuse me. There. That's not an awful sound. Don't do the reverse. Don't put the eggs into the bechamel because the bechamel's too hot, and that amount of heat will curdle the eggs. Better to do it this way. All right. We'll blend the eggs with a bit of the bechamel. Add a little bit more. There we are. Whip it up. This isn't at all complicated. The only secret is how to fold it in so that you don't wind up with a bomb on your hands. All right. All of the bechamel now is in the pot, and we'll stir it in, and then we'll add 1 cup of Swiss cheese. Okay. Oh. Look, he's still, you know, the old souffle is holding up all right. I think he's going to be okay. You see, he's calmed down a bit, but still beautiful. And that's been about, it's been about 7 or 8 minutes. So by this time, you see, your guests are not as impressed, and that's a shame. All right, 1 cup of Swiss cheese. All righty. There it is. It doesn't have to turn to goo. Don't stir it that much. We're now ready to fold this into the 8 egg whites. Are you with me? We'll give it to you again. It's not complicated, and it's very delicious. Now, do not put the egg whites into the bechamel. Put the bechamel into the egg whites, running it right down the side of the bowl. See, I didn't pour it all over the top. I don't want to crush the egg whites. This is the light meringue. No, there's no sugar in it. So it really shouldn't be called a meringue, should it? Meringue always has sugar. Now, we'll just fold it under. Very gently. Keep folding and turning your bowl over on itself. Very gently, very gently. Treat eggs with the wonder that they deserve. This is an awesome food product. How clever the King of the Universe is to create the chicken, and how kind the chicken is to give us eggs. I think any good hen would be tickled if she saw this cheese souffle. And she's in cahoots with a cow. You see, so you've got the whole barnyard involved in this dish. Now, we'll put this in a baking souffle dish. This is about 3 quarts, isn't it? About 3 quarts? Okay. We had to empty these out and figure out what size they were. There we go. Fill it right up. It should just be almost to the brim. And then it goes into a 375-degree oven, and it stays there for about 25 minutes. And you watch it carefully. But don't keep slamming the door, because you'll cause the thing to collapse. You see? You don't have to worry about the kids running around. It's none of that sort of thing we used to worry about when I was a child. My mother wouldn't let me near the kitchen when she was baking a cake. I don't know why. I didn't make that much noise, Mom. Come on. All right. The second main course that we could serve, this would be a lovely main course, or the green salad, of course, and a glass of wine. The second main course that we could serve would be an old fondue. I'm sorry that fondue seems to have come out of its selected place in the past. It was very popular a few years ago, and now it's not quite as popular, but I love fondue. It's my old fondue pot, and when you make a good fondue, you use nothing but Swiss cheese and some flour, grated flour, a little bit of garlic and white wine. Finally, I put in a little bit of nutmeg and a shot of brandy, and then, of course, you need lots of bread and wonderful bread to tear up, and it's a wonderful dish. I enjoy it so much. Everybody sits around. If I make fondue for Jason, he cheers for weeks. He just loves it. And finally, for a dessert, you serve the same thing you serve for your first course. Serve cheeses on a platter, beautiful camembert with fruit, or if you want a fun one, try this. I have, if I can find my bowl full of, here it is, I have a cube of butter, in the bowl. Now, I'm going to add some gorgonzola. You can use blue cheese or you can use Roquefort. Do you know the difference? Do you understand the difference between them? Roquefort cheese is made in France, and it is made from sheep's milk, only in the caves of Roquefort. Blue cheese comes from Denmark, and it's made from cow's milk. Gorgonzola is made in Italy, and it is from goat's milk. So we want to put a bit of gorgonzola, about half and half. That's a 1/4 pound of butter, so we'll use a 1/4 pound of cheese. And we're going to whip this, just whip this stuff to death until we get a paste. And we're going to smear it. Well, I'll show you what we're going to do. It's just too good to worry about. It's wonderful stuff. I don't know where my wife got this recipe, but she served this to me one night when I was in a particularly bad mood, I think, after a difficult day. And this will heal anything. If you don't like the goaty flavor, it's perfectly all right to use blue, but don't invite me over. If I'm coming over, use gorgonzola, will you? And gorgonzola makes wonderful pasta. Chop the gorgonzola in a pan, into a pan with a little bit of olive oil and garlic, and just let it kind of melt down a bit. Throw in some cream, toss that over pasta. Of course, all the neighbors know. It has a heavy odor. All the neighbors know what you're doing, but who cares, for heaven's sakes? That's all right. There we are. And we'll scrape this. You see, it's very rich, you're right, but this is dessert. No sugar in it. Only butter fat and goat fat. Oh, there. You don't like the word goat fat? Listen, in biblical times, that was a sign of great happiness, goat fat. I'll put I'm going to use some, these are Bosch pears, I think. Use some fresh pears, and I'll put my whipped up, this is not quite as warm as it should be. It's going to be a little hard to spread. We'll put the whipped up butter and gorgonzola cheese on pear wedges. I have some already cut for you. Keep them in salted water so you can do this dish ahead of time and then serve them at the last minute and they'll not discolor, you see. And when you put this, I've just got to, when you put a bit of cheese on your pear. Where's a knife, Smith? I don't know where a knife is. I'm not going to look. Anyhow, when you put a bit of this cheese on the pear, what a marriage. What a marvelous marriage. Coming from the cow, grass, the patience of a man who understands cheese, and the glory of the Creator who gave us yeasts that make cheese. Today I've made for you, we've at least discussed fondue. I made a cream of brie soup for you, a lovely soup. I've made a souffle for you, cheese souffle. I've even deep fried some cheese. And then finally, I've whipped up some gorgonzola with butter to put on pears and celebrate dessert. So there you have a whole buffet using cheese as we entertain one another and enjoy the grand things from grass, a cow, and an old Greek gentleman. Enjoy. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.